hard to put it into words. Obviously, we all dream of things like this as players, and you try to visualize what it's going to be like and what it's going to feel like. And when I hit that third shot on the green, and I could tell it was close by the crowd's reaction, just the wave of emotion of so many things just overtook me. Never thought I was going to cry by winning a golf tournament, but I got very close on that 18th hole. And a lot of it because of what it means to me and to Spanish golf, right? It's Spain's 10th major for a player to win the Masters, 4th. And my second win, right? My second major win. It's pretty incredible. And to play the way I did today on Sunday, only one bogey, on difficult conditions and coming in with a margin, hard to explain. A lot of pride. And I'm really proud of myself from what I did. And still really hasn't sinked in yet. I'm looking at this course and I'm still thinking I have a couple more holes left to win, and can't really say anything else. This one was for Seve. I know he was up there helping, and help he did.
Thank you. We'll go to questions. Gary.
Jon, everybody in this room knows, but on Tuesday, you shared your appetite for the history of this game and talked about how you like to peel back layers on what other players have done. In addition to the Spanish accomplishment, you're the first European player ever to win a Masters and a U.S. Open. So can you give us a sense, Masters and a U.S. Open, no other European player has done that. So can you just share, finding that out, just some perspective on that accomplishment?
I find it hard to believe that I'm the first one. If there's anything better than accomplishing something like this, is making history. So the fact that you tell me that, to be the first European ever to do that, hard to explain. Out of all the accomplishments and the many great players that have come before me, to be the first to do something like that, it's a very humbling feeling. Thank you, by the way, because I don't know how I would have found out. I still can't believe I'm the first. I don't know what to tell you. It is a pretty good duo of majors. U.S. Open is about as hard a test that you're ever going to find. And, I was starting to think I was never going to win a major again unless it was at Torrey Pines. So to come somewhere that, it's not like it was that long ago, but to come somewhere where I've been comfortable, I kept seeing the stats of lowest score to par the last starts and, how great I've done here in the past, but never really gave myself a chance to win. And all I asked for was a chance, and I got it. So to get that done I can't hope to feel anything but thankful.
Jon.
Jon, just a few minutes ago, Jose Maria talked about how proud he was of how calm, cool, and collected you seemed out there today. How calm, cool, and collected were you?
What is going on the outside is not always a reflection of the inside. I was calm. I never got frustrated. I never really felt like anything was out of control, but obviously you're nervous, right? There's tension out there. That bogey on 9, timing-wise, was bad because Jordan and Phil came in making birdies, right? So what looked like a 2, possibly more shot lead, narrowed down very, very quickly with the chance of making a birdie on 18, right? So made those 10, 11, 12 holes harder. Again, I might have looked calm, but I was definitely nervous out there, and I'm glad that's the way it looked. I mean, that's what you strive for, right? You don't want to panic, and I never panicked. I felt comfortable with my game, and I had a plan to execute, and that's all I can do.
Cameron.
Jon, you had the 4-putt at the first hole. You might have got the worst and probably the tougher side of the draw. You were getting rained on. You were also behind for a lot of the holes. Did you have a sense of calm throughout the week, or how did you sort of keep your composure?
Did you say I was perhaps was on the bad side of the draw? Perhaps. You know, the only time I was a little bit upset at myself was actually this morning on 16. Because 3-putted 13, 3-putted 15, and then I hit a terrible shot on 16 and made a bogey. And I felt like at least one of those shots was avoidable. That's the only time I ever felt like, you know, was truly upset at something. But I reeled it back in and made 2 good pars in the last 2 holes to put myself in the final group, which is all I needed. All I asked for was a chance. It was a tough day out there. It was windy, and all those wind gusts and swirls are not easy. You're going to hit good shots, or you're going to end up in bad spots, and it happened to everybody. So luckily, the people that shot a low round today were a little bit too far out. And as to, because I know you guys keep asking me, as to why I felt this way, I really don't know. I've always been confident when I've been close to the lead. I have full faith in all parts of my game, and maybe because it was that difficult out there, I was just focused on what I had to do, and that's really all you can control. This is what you can do.
Jeff.
Jon, a year ago you played the final round with Tiger Woods. Was there anything from that day that you were able to use today, and then perhaps specifically you could talk about how you approached the 12th hole today in the final round?
Well, I think because even though he didn't try to show it, obviously he was in pain, he was tired. The 4th round was a long one for him. I didn't really want to just grill him with questions about tournaments, right, and how to be a better golfer, because he was there to do a job. We shared a couple fun stories. I asked him a couple of questions about, when he was a younger player and when he became a dad, and more about, life as a pro athlete and parenthood. I think we talked about that more than anything. Then he shared a couple of stories from the past. But the one thing I remember is talking to Tony Finau. I played 9 holes with him on Wednesday, about 12, because you mentioned. And I asked him when him and Francesco hit those shots in the water, it was like, did you actually hit a good shot? And he said, yeah, it was a good shot. It was just a yard too far right and spun in the water. So then he mentioned that Tiger's shot went left of the bunker to that Sunday pin. So when I got there today, dry land is mission number 1, right? And then it was very similar conditions to what we played this morning. So I learned from what I did this morning, tried to basically make a hole-in-one to the 3rd round pin and hit a perfect shot because I was about 3 feet from it, right? That's all I had to do, hit it right over the center of the bunker and hope it hits green. So, and then after that, hit a great lag putt, tapped it in and moved on.
Jeffrey.
And a lot of people want to describe you as a fighter. Where does that come from?
I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit related to determination. I'm out there, when I'm out there, I have a job to do, and it's to hopefully be here answering to this question, right? So I know we all do, but we put in a lot of effort to try to beat the best guys in the world. So maybe that level of intensity and that determination is where you see it, and that's why I'm characterized as a fighter. I'm also never going to give up, no matter what, right? Even if I shoot myself out of contention, whatever, and I can finish strong to give myself a possibility to finish 4th, it's always going to be better than anything, right? So I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't try my hardest in every shot. So that's maybe where it comes from.
Don.
Jon, can you remember the moment where you first thought that you'd like to win this tournament, and how have you changed from that day until now?
Oh, God, I can't remember exactly when. But, I mean, I've wanted to win it ever since I thought about golf and what being a champion would be, right? Obviously, there's 4 great tournaments we all think of, and not to categorize them in any order, right? This one is one of them. I think the main thing, something that gave me a lot of hope, and that kind of started when Sergio won on 17, is the fact that basically pretty much every great named Spanish player had won here, right? I was like, there's got to be something here about having a Spanish passport. I don't know. There's something about the grounds that transmits into all of us. And even that year, I play good every year. I can't pinpoint exactly the first time, but it really became clear to me that year.
Martin.
Jon, how exciting is it to be halfway towards the Grand Slam and be in a race now with Jordan Spieth and Rory and perhaps even Phil?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You know, there are 3 of them. I mean, it would be amazing. It would be great. It's not many people have been able to do it, and to be able to finish it out and close out and do a Grand Slam would be absolutely amazing. I don't know how else to say. I would like to say that I entered the race when I won the U.S. Open, but of course it was so far away you don't want to think about it, right? But as players, it's on your mind, right? It's on your mind. It's something that it would be amazing, but it's a long road ahead to be able to accomplish that. Something that 2 players like Phil and Arnie weren't able to do. You know, it speaks a lot.
Scott.
Jon, you started the week with a double bogey, and this morning you woke up with a 4-shot deficit that you quickly made 2, and then within a few holes today you were tied for the lead with 1 birdie. How do you switch from chasing all week to being chased for the last 12 holes?
It really doesn't change. Not as much as you should, obviously. I like to still stay aggressive, as it shows with my play on 16. The second I try to play for pars is when I think a big number comes into play, right? So with how good I was swinging, I like to stay aggressive. And if I have a 3-shot lead, try to make it 4. You're 4, try to make it 5. That's a goal, right? That's the intention. Just so you can go on 18 and mess up and still have a pretty good look at winning the tournament, kind of like I almost did today, like Scotty did last year, right? You want to have as much lead as you can. The goal at that point is to never come back to the rest of the field, right? To have them chase you, and knowing that if I could make a few birdies and pars, especially on the back 9, it was going to be pretty difficult for someone to catch up with the wind conditions today.
Dylan.
Yeah, Jon, when you're playing in the same group as the guy that you know you're competing with, is there anything you try to do to gain a competitive advantage? Obviously, it's not match play, but you and Brooks were side by side for a lot of holes today.
It's not match play, but early on it kind of felt like it, right? Before people made all those birdies, I mean, we were 10, 11. I was, after the birdie on 3, 10, 11 under, and then the closest was 5 under, right? So it kind of felt like that situation where I wasn't expecting Brooks to play bad. I can't expect that, right? So I need to bring the fight to him. So when I took the tee on 4, the goal is to keep giving him something to look at, meaning if I hit a good shot, just for him to see that I have a birdie chance, but keep putting the ball in the fairway and keep making good swings for him to feel more of the pressure than me, right? Me to be the one pushing. And I feel like I did that really, really well. And even at the end, when things changed, he was the one that started pushing and made those birdies on 15 and 16, right? So even at that point, the dynamic changed a little bit as well.
Adam.
When did you figure out, or did someone tell you that the final round of the Masters this year was going to be on Seve's birthday?
I think it was on Tuesday right here. Well, not in the press room, but I think it was while I was doing media that it was Seve's birthday. Yeah. I was told a lot of things about why this could be the year, and I just didn't want to buy into it too much.
Or if you don't mind, did you sense today that the patrons were more behind you than in past years?
Yeah, not throughout the entire round, because obviously early on there was a lot of options and Brooks was on the lead and the people supporting Brooks made themselves known. But I think it was around my birdie on 8 when I took a couple stroke lead is when things turned a little bit. Even with that bogey on 9, the support was pretty incredible all throughout. And I kept hearing, Seve, 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 do it for Seve. I heard that the entire back 9. And that might have been the hardest thing to control today is, you know, the emotion of knowing what it could be if I were to win. That might have been the hardest thing.
Phil.
Jon, we really should ask you about the fantastic shot into 14, but shall we ask you about the shot, tee shot on 18 instead? Can you just describe what you were thinking as you reached for a provisional ball on the 72nd hole?
Nothing really. Had a 4-shot lead, so I was confident with that. But I think that was karma. I was just telling Adam how great I hit a low fade the entire week. Hit pretty much the fairway all 4 days on 17, which I've never done. And I was bragging about it a little bit. And of course, on 18, that happens, right? Which was maybe 2 feet from missing that tree. But it'll be a good story in the future, I guess, right? I won the Masters, didn't even make it to the fairway on the 18th tee shot. I much rather want to remember that second shot on 14, because if there was a key moment throughout the day, it was that shot, right? Not stymied behind the tree, but not in the great spot to hit it to 4 feet was incredible.
And sorry, what was the yardage you had in on 18?
128 on 18?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 14. I don't even know.
Did you,
Adam started saying numbers. I was like, is it worth going for the green? No. So I just grabbed the 4-iron and faded around the tree into a pitch spot.
Just a couple more questions, Kevin. Or Doug.
Oh, I'm sorry. John, I actually did want to ask you about the yardage on 14 and what club that was. Sorry.
No, I figured somebody was going to ask. It was 128 meters adjusted, and I used an 8-iron. And it was, started around left edge of the green. All I had to do was fade about 5 yards, and he would reach that slope.
You talk about aiming corner. When you leave 14 with that great birdie and you're 4 up with 4 to play, does that become easy or difficult?
Doesn't make it easier or more difficult at the end. I still wanted to play those last 4 holes under par. That was the goal, knowing that if I did that, he was going to be pretty much not impossible, but very difficult for me to lose it.
And last question in English, Kevin.
A couple years ago, sorry, right here, down front.
Sorry.
Okay. A couple years ago, you made a decision to reveal a pretty vulnerable thing, that you were born with a club foot. And I was sort of curious what made you want to share that with people? What inspired the explanation of that?
Oh, it's not, it's not a vulnerable thing. You can't see it because I wear pants. If we wore shorts in golf, you guys would have noticed way earlier. I dropped hints as a professional in these pressers many times. And it was in the 2020 Open Championship when somebody finally decided to ask a follow-up question to that and ask me what I meant, and that's when I explained it to it. I'm not going to go out here and explain everything that goes on, right? So that was it. Somebody finally asked a follow-up question, and I decided to talk about it. Nothing else. It wasn't like a moment where I felt ready. It's just something I'm pretty open about. It's the reason why I have the swing I have and the mechanics I have is part of who I am.